Okay, guys, welcome to the mindset section. Perhaps, potentially the most important section that we have. That could be all the basics because that's actual body language. But without the mindset, I feel like everything else falls apart. So the first thing that we're going to look into is what I call the masculine mindset. And I've spoken to you guys about this on my channel before, but because this is a course, I'm going to be able to go into depths of detail with this. Okay. So the masculine mindset. Here's an example, okay? Let's say you're some skinny little guy, you've watched Conor McGregor, you're young, and you're like, oh, I want to be like Conor McGregor. I want to be very masculine. And if I do these certain things, I'm going to get a positive result, okay? So you go out to a restaurant, you strut along, you've got your shades on, you put your arms out wide, and somebody calls you out on your bullshit. Do you know what I mean? You're walking down the street, you feel like the man, you're like, he's going to move first, my body language is better than his, he doesn't move, and he's double your size. So there's a lot of stuff that you're going to get called out on, okay? The other one is women. Women are really good at this. The first times I was doing body language, I got tested. So I remember I was stood at a bar, I leant back, I was trying to look like an alpha male. I was like, a woman will come to me, so I just leant against the bar, just sipping on my drink. And this girl came over to me and she wanted to test me. She was like, okay, he's quite a young, skinny guy, let's see if he's actually about it. So she walks up to me, starts teasing me, saying, you look like a prick, basically. She was like, you look awful, you're taking up too much space, you're annoying people, get out of the way. I just refused to. I was like, I've got to get that mindset installed where I actually believe I am who I am. Now, we'll get on to some points later that would have helped with that, but with my frame at the time being very small, skinny, I had a very youthful face, although you probably wouldn't be able to believe that now, with a full head of hair, which again, you wouldn't be able to believe that now. And, I just stuck in the trenches. I just quite literally said to her, no, look, like, I'm just going to stay here. I basically didn't say anything. I just stood there and I just said, look, maybe I do look like a dick, maybe I don't. I was like, I don't really care. And I just ignored her and got on with what I was doing. Long story short, I slept with that woman that night. Okay, so this is a lot of the mindset stuff that you guys are going to have to get over, is people will test you to see what you're like, to see if you're legit. People are like moths to a flame. People are drawn to it, but then they also want to explore it, especially women. They're like, okay, let's test this guy. He's given out an image, but is his mindset actually on that sort of stuff? Okay, it's like you can be a rich guy getting out of a Lamborghini, but if somebody tries to fight you, you're petrified. Right? That kind of kills the whole image. Do you know what I mean? You're a mafia boss getting out of the Lamborghini, but you're actually petrified of your own shadow. Oh, and it turns out it was daddy's money. Do you see what I mean, guys? Everything has to be congruent, which is something we'll get onto later. We'll look into it in depth, okay? Now, one thing that's going to wildly help with this, as I've spoken about on my channel multiple times, is raising your testosterone levels, because the higher your testosterone levels, the more masculine you're going to feel. It's been proven in proven studies to boost confidence levels. It's been proven to make you more competitive. It's been proven to want for the individual to want to take more risks in life, which is going to lead to, you wanting to do the body language in public. Like it's okay to be sat at home, sat on your sofa, you're stretched out, your legs are wide, your knees are separated, you're calm, your heartbeat's low, and you feel like the alpha male in the room. It's just you, just at home on your own. So what's going to happen when you walk down a busy street in London or something and you're trying to do the walk and you're like, yeah, but people are looking at me? And this is something I've asked you guys before. We're kind of reverting back to the other point here, but it's fine, we'll freestyle this. Are you comfortable with people looking at you? Because that's what's going to happen, okay? When you're a little 16-year-old and you're sat in a cafe or something like this and you're just minding your own business and you pick up your mobile phone and you're just looking down and you're just texting and whatever, and you don't want to lift your head up, nobody's going to look at you. Everyone's going to ignore you. Everyone's going to just think there's a normal guy blending in with the furniture. Well, that's fine. If you want that sort of life, you're going to go under the radar, that's okay, whatever. If you want to be outlier males, it says in this book, if you want to be somebody who gets noticed, somebody who, for example, I was sat at a restaurant the other day and this tall, beautiful girl that I used to know, who used to be a model, came and sat next to me, started a conversation with me, and then took my number. I would put that down heavily to the body language, to how calm I looked, how relaxed I looked. I was probably standing out amongst all the other people at that restaurant who were just simply, heads in their phone, just like head down, closed body language. Whereas I'm sat with like one arm on one chair, the arm on the table, just very slowly sipping my tea, moving in a certain way that triggers something in the female brain that says masculinity. Hence, if we go back now to testosterone, that is what testosterone is going to do. Okay? Have you ever seen like women who go through transitions, for example, and they want to become a man? They don't just start looking like a man, their behaviors become more masculine. If a woman's got high testosterone, she's more likely to approach a woman or whoever she wants to approach, that sort of thing. If a woman has high testosterone, she's more likely to try and be ambitious, rise up in the workplace. Like there's certain tendencies that come from high testosterone. One of those is going to be more alpha body language. And I actually like using the term alpha male body language. It sounds a little bit gamey, but you guys get the idea. Let's use potentially outlier male body language. You're going to deploy that more naturally because it changes your brain, okay? Your brain chemistry changes, the higher your testosterone, the more likely you are to do something like that, okay? So that's a massive piece of homework for you guys, all right? So if you're at home, all the things I've promoted to you guys before, like, for example, don't drink tap water, don't drink water out of plastic bottles, go and use reverse osmosis water or water out of glass bottles because of the BPA and the plastics and whatnot. Go out there and get daylight and sunlight, go to the gym, lift heavy, do compound lifts, clean up your diet, cut out alcohol, sugars, etc. Use fluoride-free toothpaste. When it comes to stuff like body washes, which I've got one coming out soon, or it might be out by the time this course comes out, that's a testosterone-friendly one that I'm releasing soon, so you guys can use that. You can use this supplement here, the men's lifestyle one, or a testosterone specific supplement I've got coming out soon, which is like a hyper version of this, which is just specialized in one area. Fedosia agrestis, Tonkat Ali, we've got ashwagandha KSM 66 and vitamin D in there. The 4 proven things that will boost testosterone. So you can use things like this. I've got videos on my channel, you'll be able to find them. But raising your testosterone is going to change this. It's going to change your brain, number one, which is then going to change the way you move, the way you behave, the way you act, the way you respond to things, how calm you are in multiple situations. Your heartbeat's not going to be racing, not going to be getting those sweaty palms, because it's hard to do that outlier male body language and be relaxed and be calm in scenarios where you've got something else going on behind the scenes, like you're sweating, your armpits are sweating, you're breathless, your heart rate's going, your palms, it's not, do you know what I mean, guys? You don't need that level of distraction. Testosterone will help combat that. And not only that, testosterone will combat how other men feel about you. If you've got higher testosterone than most of the men around you, they're not going to question you. And this is what I found, okay? As my testosterone went up, and something we're going to revert to, in a minute in this section too, the vibe changed, okay? Guys were just more accepting of me. Like, I was able to just spread out, and it was like, this is normalized. He should be doing that. Like, he's the type of guy who should be doing that. We're not going to trouble him. Whereas when I was a little bit younger, I'd be walking through a club, I didn't have the beards, whatnot, I didn't look a certain way, and I'd get shoulder barged off a guy who was like 6 years older than me and way bigger. Whereas now that shit just doesn't happen. People just move out the way for you. You can walk a certain way, you can act a certain way, and people move. It's like the Conor McGregor effect. Early on in his career, he was a bit of a pussy, let's be honest. He had like a quieter voice. He was using a lot of ums and ahs and whatever. He was kind of petrified of life. And then over time, like, that inner McGregor came out, and he was like, I'm able to get away with more now because of what I've accomplished. I've been knocking people out. I've been taking title belts. I've been saying I was going to do what I was going to do. I'm making more money. Okay. And all of this leads into my next point, which is points on the board. Anybody who's familiar with First Man, you'll know what I mean by this. Anybody who's not, I'll explain it. Okay. When you're like an 18-year-old guy, you're young, you're spotty, you're awkward, you're inexperienced, you haven't got a lot going for you. Even if you're genetically blessed and you're like 6'5" or something like that, right? You haven't got a lot going for you. So guys say to me, Chris, why have I got such low confidence? Because you don't have points on the board. You haven't done anything with your life yet. You haven't actually accomplished anything of worth. So why would you feel proud about yourself? Okay. Actually think about it, right? Your brain, your low confidence, your brain is a true reflection of your reality. Your brain is just looking at the scenario around you, and it's saying, she's way prettier than me, I don't deserve her. Do you know, I know this because I used to think like that. I actually tapped into it. I looked like deep into my brain, and I was like, the reason I'm afraid to talk to this woman is because I don't feel like I deserve her. That guy just walked in, the real handsome Jack guy who's 5 years older than me, I think he deserves her. That's just your brain's reality. That's being honest. It's a man's greatest strength, that we are quite honest with ourselves. We take self-accountability. We're not walking around like a lot of women out there saying, hey, I'm a 10, I'm a 10, I'm a 10, and in complete denial of their flaws. You should embrace that as a man and be like, I'm not good enough yet. I'm working on myself. I'm working on my body language, testosterone, all the other things. I'm also putting points on the board. And like you can get to work by going, and we'll get on this on the next point, actually, we'll feed into it. But you can like get in the gym. You can do stuff like raising your testosterone, like I just spoke about. You can get a skincare routine. You can make more money. Okay, an extra £1,000, £2,000 per month might be the difference between you going into a restaurant and shitting yourself because you know you can't pay the bill, and the difference between you going in there and feeling calm, and then you can focus on your body language and really impress the woman that you're sat there with. Do you see what I mean, guys? So it makes a massive difference. And points on the board coupled with testosterone and changing that masculine mindset, it will all come together. And then you'll be in a perfect position where you have that solid foundation as a man, where you truly believe that you are somebody who could grab a spare chair, slam it next to you, put your arm on it, spread out on the table, grab all your items, for example, which we'll get to later, and just spread them around the table, taking up as much space as possible. And then when the waitress comes over, strong eye contact, you're not embarrassed one bit because you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm somebody of worth. Like, I'm a high-level guy. I should be acting this way. And this is one thing I found, actually. I used to, like in the early days when I was on Tinder and stuff like that, I had the beard. I had quite a strong look to me. I really improved myself. And women would be like, this guy's an alpha male. Once I got talking to them or calling them or I met them, they were like, no, he's not. Because I wasn't quite there yet. I wasn't, evolved as such. And, everything needs to be congruent across the board. And that is what all these things will do. And this is what the next point is so important for, okay, guys? Which is building the frame. A lot of you have seen my Ragnar Lothbrok videos and Bjorn Ironside, where I've done body language analysis on these guys. It helps massively if you go to the gym. Okay, if you're doing compound lifts, heavy compound lifts, if you're adding some muscle, if you've been through 1 or 2 bulks, which I say every guy should do in his teens or 20s, preferably 20s, because then you're fully grown, you're going to just have a bigger frame, okay? And you could have the worst body language in the world, but you look big. And this is a big part of body language, is like you're taking up more space, right? So if I am 5 inches wider, and my chest is expanding a lot bigger, and I'm filling that chair that I'm sat in, and the clothing that I'm wearing just makes me look jacked, it fits very well, and I'm just kind of like, I just look broad, and I've got a certain walk because I've been going to the gym doing squats and whatnot, and my legs are big, and I've got a certain walk about me where it's like a very strong, a natural kind of outlier male walk where it will just happen. It's very masculine. If you've built muscle, then there's no other way you can walk but masculine. Like, we've all seen girls that have gone steroids, and they start taking on like more of a masculine shape. They start walking like men. Okay, it's something that will happen. So once you build up the legs, and legs are so important, glutes especially, build that foundation to your body, build up the mass in the upper, your body language will just have like a 10x effect. Because if you're like the skinniest guy in the room, which is fine, like I said, you can still practice body language. There's no barrier to entry. It's just if you want the most effective results, and you're sat with your arms out like that, and but you weigh like 5 stone soaking wet. I don't know what that is in kilograms for you Americans or pounds, but it's not heavy. And if you're sat there looking skinny, then it's just not going to have the same effect. I described it earlier as being like Richie Rich. You know, when he used to sit there and he's just some little kid, it kind of looks funny. You know, when you see a kid in a suit and it's his dad's old suit and it's slightly too big, he's going to school in his dad's shoes and they're a size too big. It has that effect. It's like you shouldn't be, that isn't representative of who you are. Okay, so again, it's congruency. That's what a lot of this mindset stuff is. It's putting all this stuff in place. So if you can build some man meat and you can go through some bulk, so you can get on your creatine and do everything that's required, get in the gym, lift your heavy shit, and do it all over, especially legs, well, guess what? Your body's going to move in a certain way. You're going to look more masculine. Your neck's going to pad out a little bit more. You're going to look like a scarier, more threatening individual. And then if you are deploying wide open, take up space body language, or if you're walking down the street in a certain way, people are more likely to move out the way for you, which then enhances, you know, the stuff that you're doing. It has a, like I said, a 10x effect, where it's like the world around you. Now, the reaction from the world around you now matches what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, with your mindset, your body, etc. Everything is congruent. It all works collectively. Especially if you're putting points on the board, you got high testosterone. All comes together. That's what happened to me. And if you're getting the correct reactions from people that you actually require, well, then it almost has like a dress-up effect. That everybody around you is enhancing who you are, if that makes sense. They're encouraging the other people around you